Kia ora! My name is Courtney Havrilla. This is speech number 3 for Professor Venter's COM 103 course. This is my audience, my father. Who am I? Am I the face of a nation? The worth of my economic status? Only as smart as my schooling says I am? I don't think so. And I don't believe that anyone in front of me today is solely the person that the answer to those questions says they are. In fact, I believe that humans have this incredible ability to outshine whatever expectations our social demographics say we meet. It is easy in today's world to only be seen as a number, a vote, a piece of data, but I am more than that. I am a person with dreams and freedoms that cannot be measured. And in the pursuit to make my dreams come true, I discovered something very interesting. Our life is now global. Like it or not, we are part of a global community in a world where people and organizations are rising to global power. I am here today to tell you that it is time to make globalization personal, to reestablish our connection as people to people in order to sustain and protect what we find most valuable. Not become slaves of world powers because somehow globalization has become a synonym for totalitarian. This takes an ironic combination of reprised individualism and community effort in order to change the, quote, average person's role in globalization. So let us start with individualism. Let us find a new sense of enthusiasm in the statement that I am not one of a million, but one in a million. The United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization believes that globalization is creating a loss of identity within cultures. And I cannot help but think, if it is happening to entire cultures, what is to say it is not happening to us as independent beings? Modernization, imperialism, whatever you want to call it. It means that we, as individuals, are being placed under a blanket of stereotypes because of who our passport or social class says we are. Yes, I am American, but I do not embrace every American stereotype. Yes, I am one person in a large middle class, but I believe that my experiences make me the richest woman alive. I am opening up a little bit about who I am and what I believe. But let us make this communal. I want to know, who are you? What do you believe? I ask with as much sincerity as can possibly be given because, brother, sister, you are a massive portion of what makes me who I am. I want to know who you are because if I, or we for that matter, do not take steps to eliminate this facade between us, then we are all at risk of losing our identities. So take a moment, think of who you are, and embrace these characteristics, these immeasurable characteristics, as something that can contribute to the stronghold of our global community. Because on the other end of the spectrum, there are globalized economies and businesses that are beginning to dictate which turn our world takes next. According to McCorkerdale and Fairbrother in an article in the Johns Hopkins University Press, over half of the world's 100 largest economies are corporations. I want you to take a look at who you are, because enthusiastic, dull, organized, or scattered, those are human characteristics, and that is the foundational difference between charismatic leaders and corporations. We are not economic machines. We are people with inexplicable emotions that at times may have very little logic. But we have gut feelings about what is right. We have gut feelings about what is right. And when we surround ourselves with technology, or we measure our worth by capital, then we lose the sentimental connection between us all. And right now, we need that connection more than ever. We need that connection to get rid of the stereotypes against race, gender, ethnicity, or whatever Fox News or any other channel says that I should think about a certain person or people. If I do not know you or your situation, I will not pretend to. but I will sympathize with what relative experience I have until you help me construct an image of in my mind of who you really are. This is not going to be easy, but it has to happen. And I will encourage and embody every one of these understandings of people, because this is the core value that is going to make our global community strong against globalized economies and businesses. And to do this, we have to open up to each other. Forget what others say and create a new self-image. And every time we wonder, why should I do this? Why is this imperative to the preservation of my rights? I want you to keep in mind an excerpt from a lecture by Martin Niemöller. Quote, "First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me." End quote. It takes an exceptional effort to create this global community. But luckily, we live in an age where things such as the internet and social media are making this effort a little bit easier. We see this in hashtag Bring Back Our Girls campaign for the Nigerian kidnappings, or the Facebook page We Are All Khalid Saeed that contributed to uprisings in Egypt against a politically corrupt government. It is time to come together, because we live in a world where fear of oppression from global powers is a very real thing. And a lot of times we may feel like we can't do anything because we feel alone. But this is not the 17th century. We can use these tools such as the internet and social media to connect and get rid of that lonely feeling that we may otherwise have. To come together as a community. Globalization has made it so that the experience of everyday life from here to here to here really is not so different. We may understand each other better than we might think. And the people who are in charge of global powers, global branches of organizations or departments, they already possess the power to make decisions that will affect our everyday lives. But for us to have that power, we have to come together in numbers. We have to come together as people who are not afraid to speak up and say we deserve just leaders. This effort starts now, in realizing that there are certain freedoms that need to be preserved. The freedom to question if our leaders have our best intention, have the best intentions for us in mind. The freedom of choice. Working together as a global community means that we are working to ensure that everybody's different view of what a perfect life entails is still possible. And we may think that we have that choice now, but do not let the definition of freedom relative to today redefine what we know it to be in our hearts. I have here the names of some TED Talks that have to do with the global community. Wael Ghonim, who talks about social media and social change, and Carl Strenger, who talks about the World Citizen Project. And I encourage you to look at these talks and to listen with an open heart, to see what these people are doing to create a global community. Because the moment that you decide to step up and become a part of that community, you will realize that you have the whole world behind you. Thank you.